My question is, how can we manage our anxiety during these days and months of uncertainty? We want to start by saying that it's a good thing that you know that you want to manage your anxiety. It's a really good thing to know that you can, that times don't have to be certain or conditions don't have to be just right in order for you to feel good. You can do it through focus. It's also a good thing to remember that there are always going to be unstable things around you. It just feels like there are more. Well, there are more, but you have fewer distractions to keep you from noticing. And so as you have more time to think about it, then it's logical that you would have a keener feeling of the instability. We don't think that it's a bad thing that these days and months of uncertainty are putting you in a position where you can't be so conditional in your approach to life. When people need conditions to be just the way they want them to be, so that all they have to do is observe the condition in order to be steady, you never really get stable. You never get your sea legs. You always need to control conditions. And since you can't, then you never really are stable. But when you accept that things don't have to be just right for you to feel good, and you practice feeling good anyway, then, interesting, the conditions do then get better. What you're feeling in any moment, whether it's like anxiety or clarity, that doesn't have to have anything to do with the conditions. What it has to do with is what you're focused on, or what you think about what you're focused on, your perception of what you're focused upon. In other words, it is possible to feel stable in what most people feel are unstable times, or it is possible to be happy during what most are calling sad times. It's possible to love in what many are observing to be hateful times. That's what unconditional love is, isn't it? It's really a wonderful thing when you are able to love because you're a lover, not because there are things around you that are lovable. And the more you're able to do that, then the more love you'll feel, and then the more things around you will be lovable. After a while of doing that, because of your influence, there'll be more love in the world. There'll be more for you to love, and more for you to feel stable about, and more for you to feel happy about. It's tricky though, isn't it? We're asking you to love anyway, or feel stable anyway, and that will create more love and stability. If we were standing in your physical shoes, here's what we would do. We would look for positive aspects in things, and we'd focus on them, even if they're hard to find. We'd activate that good feeling within us. We'd activate it and then focus on it, talk about it, write about it. We would try to look for evidence of things that feel good every chance we get, and then more and more things that do feel good would come closer and closer. We'd appreciate how many things in our life are working out well even now. And we'd notice that some things even feel improved a little bit over what they'd been before. Haven't you noticed some of that? And the power of that is that when you activate a vibration within yourself, so your point of attraction calibrates to that you're focused on, then other things, other evidence like that shows up in your life too. Remember that whatever you're calibrating to does show up. We would meditate every day. We'd quiet our minds. Quieting your mind is the ultimate distraction from things, from bothersome things. Here's another way of looking at meditation. It's a tool, a really powerful tool that helps you to calibrate more and more to well-being. A lot of you are having what we call that step one moment, when you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want. So you're launching rockets. Billions of you are launching rockets of desire. Imagine what's happening to your vortices. And then your inner being is there, paying attention to what you've launched. So when you deliberately focus and distract yourself from worrisome thoughts, and you feel that anxiety subside a little bit, you know that your vibration is rising. And that means you have to rendezvous with more circumstances or more people or more and more of your own positive thoughts. You just get more and more stable. You feel better and better. You become less dependent on circumstances to be just right. And there is such freedom in that. When you no longer feel like you need to control things that you can't control, that you've never been able to control, then you're really free. You're free of that anxiety. My question is, do I have to face my fear to stop being frightened from it? Here's what we want you to first remember. The emotion of fear is your indicator that the vibration of the thought that you are thinking about this subject and the vibration of the thought that your inner being is thinking about the subject are very different. Fear is your indicator that you're looking at this subject differently than your inner being is. So rather than thinking in terms of facing a fear in order to make it go away, it is so helpful to think in terms of thinking thoughts that don't produce fear, which could mean thinking the thought in the way your inner being does or staying off the subject altogether. But the important thing to realize is you want to find some way, somehow, to be in moments of time without negative emotion. In other words, you want to be in a moment in time without fear. And you want to do anything and everything that you can do to hold yourself on subjects of thought or thought processes where fear isn't present. That's what calibrating to your source energy is. Negative emotion always means that in the moment of the negative emotion, you are calibrating away from your inner being. The absence of fear, or the presence of positive emotion is really what we want to say, means that you're calibrating to the frequency of your inner being. So we wouldn't run around trying to face fear. We would be more aware that we're wanting to find thoughts where fear doesn't exist at the same time. And when you do that in time, your attraction of the thought or your attraction of any circumstance that you would feel fearful about would be non-existent. My question is this. As a parent of children in their 20s, I know I cannot control what they do, but if I imagine a beautiful life for them and imagine them happy, then does this help them? Anytime you hold anyone as your object of attention while you're feeling good, you're of value to them. And you're also of value to yourself in that moment. You said something. You said, I can't control what they do. You said, as a parent of children in their 20s, I know I cannot control what they do. And that lets us know that you see them as doing things that you would rather that they not do. In other words, while you're focused in that way, you're not of value to them, and you're not of value to yourself either. You got to remember that you can't imagine them having a beautiful life if you're doing it from the place of wishing that they wouldn't do something. In other words, that's what's stuck in your vibrational craw in that moment. And so you're not going to imagine from a true vibrational place, from a true vibrational place of connection. In other words, you can't fake your imagination. You can't just say the words or conjure an image while you're bothered by what you're focused on. You have to get out ahead of it and find a way to focus on them in other ways that make you feel good. In other words, you have to be feeling their beautiful life before you can imagine their beautiful life. It really is about training your thoughts to things that feel wonderful when you're thinking them. You got to care so much about feeling good. And so practice thoughts that do feel good, that then those thoughts come naturally to you so that they're easy to find. And once that's happening steadily, then it'll be easy for you to find that imagination that you're talking about. And that will positively affect them. Whenever you hold anyone as your object of attention and you don't have split energy, then your thoughts are powerful. And then your thoughts are influential. And it doesn't matter what age they are. They could be little kids or big kids. They could not even be your kids. It could be anybody that you're wanting to uplift.